retire as champion!
Hello there. Today we're going to talk about situational awareness. So in this game, it's easy to get distracted from the primary objective. Sometimes the fights are so frantic, or 1v1 fights will break out in separate corridors away from the objectives, that it's easy to get distracted away from what your primary goal is in the map. Also for new players, sometimes it's hard to identify certain UI elements, what they mean and what they represent, as well as identifying what your opponents are doing and what kind of ultimates they are using and how you should react to these situations. We're going to go over each of these points, and we're going to break up the video into three main areas: objective awareness, opponent awareness, and ultimate awareness. We're going to start by looking at objective awareness. Many times the difference between a win and a loss in a match can be that one player standing on the objective with time running out, or a defending team being able to send a player in to defend a point and contest it with several seconds left in the map. So let's take a look at the Blizzard heads-up elements that display the information for objective-based maps. The capture point slowly fills up in a circular formation around the A objective as the opponents capture the point. Now let's look at the heads-up display elements for a payload capture point. There's also a bar that fills up horizontally, and there's also a number indicating how many opponents are on the payload pushing the cart currently. So it's also worth noting here that at any point you can see where the objectives are. They're displayed on your heads-up display. You're able to focus on those points, and a lot of times it's really important to keep in mind that in a payload map, the objective is always moving if the attacking team is pushing it forward. You need to keep track of where this point is because it will usually be the front lines of the fighting. This is important to know when and where to flank, and the safest spots for setting up sentries, teleporters, and setting up sniping positions with Widowmaker. There are also several audio cues where certain heroes will say the objective is being captured, or we need to get on the objective. Usually this means that you have an advantage or a disadvantage, and that your presence on the objective at that point can be vital in turning the tide one way or the other. Finally, the most important part of objective awareness is time. The timer on the map is going to determine whether you win or lose based on your defending or attacking. If you see that the timer is about to run out on a payload map, and you're an attacker, you have to get on the payload in order to force overtime and get it to the next objective or the final control point. If you're defending and you know that time is about to run out, you want to fight for everything to get to that payload and stop it before it reaches the capture point. You want to stop overtime. You want to push them away from the cart. So the next part of situational awareness that we'll be looking at is opponent awareness. Something that you should get in the habit of doing is checking the score screen occasionally, seeing what their team composition is composed of, and seeing how many of their teammates are on fire. If you see that certain parts of their team are dominating certain parts of your team, you may want to consider switching heroes to counter that. There are also subtle audio cues you can pick up on that will determine if you're coming up against certain heroes. If you hear Bastion's machine gun in the distance, you probably know that their team has a Bastion set up in a defensive position. If you hear rocket launchers on the flank, you know that a Pharah is possibly coming behind you to flank you. The sound production in this game is amazing, and learning these audio cues is key to maximizing your situational awareness in a map. Finally, take full advantage of the kill cam and spectate cam after you die. There's maybe certain subtle things that you missed in the heat of battle that you can see on a second viewing. Possibly the most important part of the learning curve in Overwatch is learning every character's ultimates and being able to react to them in time. So we're going to take a quick look at each of the heroes' ultimates and how you should react to an opponent casting this ultimate. If you hear Reaper's ultimate, you know that a Reaper is doing heavy damage in short to medium range. You have two reactions to this. You can either run away, get out of his effective short range heavy damage, or you can try to do damage from long to medium range in order to kill him quickly. Hanzo's ultimate probably has one of the most distinctive audio cues. If you hear it and you hear the dragon coming for you, you probably know that you need to run and get out of the way. Especially if you're in a hard point position that's been giving the enemy trouble, you know that he's probably targeting that area with the dragons, and it's best to scatter and get out of the way of the heavy damage that's headed your way. Hearing Soldier 76's ultimate means that if you're in line of sight of him, you're probably going to start taking heavy damage very quickly. Either get out of line of sight, run away, or kill him quicker than he can kill you. Remember, unlike McCree's ultimate that does all the damage at once, Soldier 76 has to kill each enemy individually. Hearing Winston's ultimate means that you probably have a large angry monkey headed your way. This ultimate's difficult to deal with because it's based around the fact that it disrupts your enemy team, and it's hard to get around that this is the function that it's going to serve. Roadhog's ultimate is a take cover and hide ultimate. He's slow during his ultimate, he has a limited range of fire. It's best just to get out of the way until he's completed it. Zenyatta's ultimate is usually employed when a team push is coming. The best thing to do is to reorganize, regroup, and be ready to fight again when the ultimate is over. Although Bastion's ultimate is usually a reactionary use, and it's easy to predict when he's going to use it, it's still a good idea to get out of the way when he pops it. You probably just want to avoid the heavy AE damage that he can employ when he's in tank form. Junkrat's ultimate is a run and hide reaction, but since the tire can be killed from range, if you're certain heroes, it may be a good idea to attack the tire from range, especially if you don't have a good way to escape it. Just be careful that you don't accidentally kill your own team when you destroy it early. Pharah's ultimate is another run and hide or take cover because she's going to do heavy damage to an area, but she's immobile during this time, and it is possible to take her down many times before she's able to kill anybody on your team. Lucio's ultimate is similar to Zenyatta in the fact that it's going to usually mean a team is rallying around this particular hero. The limited amount of damage that you're capable of doing in that time means you should probably run, recover, and be ready to engage again after the ultimate is finished. Zarya's ultimate is hard to react to because it happens so fast if you get caught in the area, but if you hear her cast it, it's probably a good idea to be careful when going around corners or entering areas where your teammates were located because it's possible you can get sucked in accidentally. Reinhardt's ultimate is nearly impossible to react to if you're caught in the area that's affected, but if you see teammates get hit by Reinhardt's stun, he's not going to put up his shield. He's probably going to want to do offense at that point, which makes him invulnerable. You can do damage and possibly save teammates if you engage him after he uses his ultimate. Torbjorn's ultimate usually means that he's turtling a turret and it's getting leveled to level 3. In this case, you have a couple reactions. Either you can try to out-damage him in this form, or you can try to just wait until the form is over and his extended healing is done and then engage the level 3 sentry. If you hear Mercy's ultimate, you know that any heroes that were just killed will be revived. You need to recheck your flanks, recheck your positioning, and remember that anybody that just died is going to come back in life. Tracer's ultimate can be difficult to avoid because it happens so fast, but you need to keep in mind, if you're a slow class and you're not stuck on the bomb, you need to run away as quickly as possible, use any escape abilities you have. But if you're a fast class and you happen to get the bomb stuck on top of you, the last thing you want to do is run into your allies and accidentally get them killed. While sometimes it's hard to know whether an enemy's Symmetra has used her teleport ability, if you see enemy players coming back faster than normal from their respawn point, or they have a shimmer around them that would indicate that they've just teleported, it's probably best to seek out that teleporter before it's able to do its maximum amount of teleports and end the faster reinforcements that the enemy team is getting. If you hear McCree's ultimate, you know that an enemy McCree is probably locking in for a kill. You either want to take cover, hide, stay out of line of sight, or you want to kill him quickly before he can kill your team. While Widowmaker's ultimate is not devastating on face value, you have to know that if you hear that their Widowmaker is giving their team the ability to see through walls, it's almost impossible to flank effectively, and you have no element of surprise. You either need to wait until the effect fades, or keep in mind that you're not going to surprise the enemy team with any kind of ability. So to wrap up, most situational awareness comes with practice and time. As you learn the game, you pick up on some of these subtle audio or visual cues, things that can give you that slight edge in combat, but most of these are just tips and little things that you can pick up on to maybe accelerate your skill level in the game as you progress. Good luck out there, Overwatchers.